Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? DBZ Mando signing on here. And so I have just watched the Bad Batch episode replacements. I know I'm a little late, sorry. But we're here, and so I'm going to go ahead and break down what happened. Spoiler warning for those who haven't seen it. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to talk about it, as we do in these episode videos. Probably not going to have this one edited. Probably it'll be on an image as well. I'll get better with these, I promise. But right now, I'm just trying to make sure a video comes out, because you can see I'm a little late. Anyway, that's not beside the point. Some of you probably came here for a little breakdown and talk. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this, and let me know if you guys enjoy this. So anyway, we begin with the Bad Batch flying in space after, being shot in the last episode. Their ship taking all the heavy damage. So they're flying through space I think they're just flying just to fly. But anyway, they're flying and they're realizing their ship's having a bunch of problems. But we first start off with Hunter handing out the food rations and gives Omega one. And then gives Wrecker one. And Wrecker gets his and eats it, within a few seconds, not even a second, and it's already gone. And he says, give me, can I have more? And Hunter tells him no, as they're, scarce on rations for right now. And Omega offers hers, and Wrecker is, it doesn't hesitate to, go ahead and take it. But Hunter reminds him that she's just a kid, and everybody needs it. And Wrecker sees this and says, you can have it. So after that, they then realize that one of the machine's powers go out, or one of the ship's power flickers a little bit. And so Hunter goes up to the front to see what's going on and sees that, and, tells Echo saying, he thought he fixed that. But Ted goes ahead and tells him that, there's a bunch of, the ship took a lot of damage during their escape off of the planet. But luckily nothing heavy, nothing too serious. And then they end up, the engine fails on them and they end up crashing on a moon. So they go ahead and crash on a moon, and are trying to go ahead and change out one of their ship parts. It was like a corresponder or something. So they go ahead and place it, and we actually transition. So the way this episode is formatted is that we're going back to back between two stories. So after they land on the moon and figure out what's going on, they then go ahead and transfer to the Empire on Camino and see that they're checking on Hunter. They're basically scanning him, and as seeing that he's still compliant with all their orders and following orders, as they say. And he's actually met with another admiral. I forgot his name. But another admiral comes in, and Thrawn saying that they got, his admiral Thrawn basically praises him for his entire code plan that went through. So, he praises him for his chain code plan, and he praises him for that, and that goes through. But then they talk about even more about the recruits and, how they're going to surpass clones. And so he meets them with a full, new squad of clone people. Or not clone people. Actually just recruits that are all advanced, quote unquote, recruits. And so, he shows them Admiral Thrawn, and Admiral Thrawn's all right, we'll see how they do. And so what he goes ahead and does is decides to have them check out, basically. And then, so after that, we go ahead and transfer them back to the Bad Batch gang. I should also mention that as they were crash landing, Wrecker hit his head on the strap-on pole, the chair. So he banged his head. So he kind of complains about his head hurting the entire time while they're trying to figure out to replace the ship part. And as Echo and Tech are outside changing it, they hear noises from like creatures roaring, and so they go ahead and check it out and see that, and they see nothing there. But as they were looking away, the ship part they were trying to replace got taken away by a creature that we later find out is an Ordo moon dragon. And so that feeds off of energy. So it takes it, and they find this out when they go back in the ship after hearing a bunch of noises and seeing claw marks on the ship. As they inside, the Ordo moon dragon roars at them and then runs off. And then Hunter and Omega, after some little conflictedness, decide that they're going to go ahead and go out there and go grab the part. So Hunter and Omega head out there while Wrecker stays behind, and his head's he's still hurting from his head. And where you hit his head actually is where the inhibitor chip was. So yeah, he's kind of things are pretty interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, he gets hit in the head, or well, so he's just complaining about his head. So Hunter has him stay there, and Tech and Echo go ahead and we're gonna stay and help fix the ship. So after Omega and Hunter go to search for them, for the part, they go and see that all these tunnels. They follow the creature as Hunter as Hunter and Omega are going. He's tracking down the creature and explains to Omega, and Omega asks him what he's doing. Hunter's like, I'm tracking. It's one of his enhancements. He explains to her that each of the Bad Batch members has special enhancements abilities. And she says that could she do what he does? And he's like, it's not kind of like that. But anyway, as they continue to look for the creature, or for the Ordo Moondragon, sorry, they find the part, and Hunter goes to grab it, but sees that the Moondragon's right there, and it pounces him and breaks off. They were wearing breather masks, and so it takes off the breather mask off of him, and he's like kind of like just gasping for air. He's basically choking, and he's like trying to get for air, and he ends up passing out as Omega puts the mask on him, and he's still breathing. He's just unconscious. So Omega then grabs his blaster and decides, because she saw the Moondragon crawl into its little den, and so she decides that it's best for her to go and grab the part. We then cut back to the Camino, where Thrawn has the recruitments and the Crosshair going on the mission to finish what the Bad Batch had started and go look for Saw Gerrera's camp, with Crosshair in charge and as the lead of the operation. So to basically see who's better or who outputs more. So we go ahead and head to their planet, and there's a little confrontation between Crosshair and one of the soldiers saying, why would they pick clones? Clones are a thing of the past. There's no need for them. We also learned that we had learned earlier from this guy that during the Republic time it was nothing for him, but the Empire had provided a roof over his head and food, so he already sees the Empire already as better than what the Republic was. But anyway, I digress. So he goes in. So we still have that confrontation, and Crosshair kind of just, there's tension in the air, but Crosshair just doesn't say anything. And they head there, and they actually execute the job pretty well. They practically kill every one of the. They find a camp out, but Saw's not there. They say he left, and so they basically annihilate all the rebels, or what known to be rebels, out of there. They knock them all out, take them all down, and then they kill all. It's a very brutal scene. Everybody's just killed. And they even shoot down the pilot before he can even fly off. And after that, there's nothing but civilians and another rebel lead. Crosshair asks where Saw is. She tells him he doesn't know, but she wouldn't tell him. But Crosshair cuts her off, killing her, saying he believes her. And so he then tells the squad to go ahead and, kill the civilians, because he asks the civilians, if they have anything to share, but they don't know anything. So he just tells his I keep wanting to say clones, but it's just because of the armor they're wearing. But he just goes ahead and tells them to execute them. And one of the clones, says, one of the troops say, hey, no, we don't need to do this. They're just civilians. We'll just take them in for questioning. There's no need for that. And that's where Crosshair basically sees him just, not follow orders. And that's, the recruit says, ignore the clone. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We're just going to take them in for questioning. And that's when Crosshair says, that's what... You want to know why they put me in charge? It's because I get the job done. And then he shoots the troop right there. And then he ends with his iconic line, good soldiers follow orders. And he says, now execute them. And that's what they do. The troops just execute them. And then they head off. We then head back to Hunter and them, we head back to Omega, who's in the cave chasing down the Ordo Dragon, and when she finds it, she flashes her light at it and it starts screaming, but then she turns it off and sees it goes passive, and she aims a gun. She's scared, but she learns that as she keeps flashing the light that it basically just wanted the food source. So she chucks the light and it goes straight toward it. She grabs the part, heads out. Hunter, while this is all happening, he wakes up and is like, oh my god, what has happened? What's Omega? But then he sees that she was able to do it. That she was able to get the mission done, and she's like, I did it. I got the part, and I used your. And he's surprised to see her with the blaster, but she's like, don't worry, I didn't have to use it. And then hands it back to him, and then they head back to the ship. After that, I believe we then come back to Camino, where they get back on the. So they head back to the ship, We then come back to Camino, where the troops and them get back to the Kaminoan facility and meet with Moff Tarkin, who says they're down a troop, but they seem to have gotten it done. And so the other admiral in charge, basically what Tarkin says is that it's good to have these clones, or to have these troops come in, but for now they're gonna have to keep the clones in charge as they're more experienced and they do not have the actual firepower to recruit people right now. Like, they'll keep recruiting people until their forces grow, but they can't just not have the clones right now because their forces are too weak. So for now, clones will be in charge while they're getting their numbers up, and then eventually the production of clones will end, as it's cheaper. So Thrawn goes ahead and puts this new admiral in charge, and basically we have the troops and Crosshair go into the Bad Batch's old quarters. And Crosshair, sits down, he looks at everything, he sees the tags on the wall that from Wrecker, and he's a little bit conflicted. He then goes to sit down in his chair, or in his bunker, I should say, and just sits there and ponders. And then we come back to the Bad Batch team who with Hunter and Omega, who head back into the ship, and, explain that what had happened, and Omega got it. And while they were gone, Wrecker had actually went up and set apart the little, I think it was the gun. It looks like the manning gun station, but he sets that up as her room, and she really loves it, as she's she says she never had her own room before, and so she loves it and thanks them so much, and making her officially a part of the Bad Batch team. And that is where the episode ends. So overall, it's a really good episode. I'm not gonna lie, it was really good. This very, very, very interesting. With Crosshair showing, this is why clones are superior. They get the job done no matter what. No questions asked. There was, nothing. He did not hesitate to just annihilate those civilians. But also, I feel like I just skipped over the fact that the Kaminoans. I should have also let this know. The Kaminoans are talking about something big. They're talking about how the Jango Fett blood sample DNA thing is degrading. So clones aren't going to be as good as they once were. So then they're coming up with a phase 3 version of clones and how to basically make, I'm assuming phase 3, but a new version of clones that will basically make sure they'll still have their contract with the Empire and still be existing somewhat in this Empire. But overall, it was really good, very interesting. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. They also said they also need a Bad Batch, just one Bad Batch member to get this plan going. But as for what they're going to do, I don't know. This could be very interesting as to what they're going to do. It was, again, very good episode. I'm intrigued with Wrecker, because when he hit his head, it was where his inhibitor chip was. And so I'm curious as to if that activated it or what, because he was just groaning and he was just groaning and complaining about it the entire time, saying, my head, why does my head hurt so much? And it was just where his inhibitor chip was. So there could maybe be a possibility he executes Order 66, but we shall see what happens. I hope that's not the case. He's a very lovable character, and I know one of my friends who I watch this with, when we watch it, is going to be sad if he turns. But overall, very good episode. Let me know, guys, in the comments what your opinions were of this episode. If y'all liked it, if y'all thought it could have been better, if you're intrigued of what is going to happen for the next episode, let me know in the comments. Also, if you can, please blast that like button out of this universe, as it supports the channel. Let me know, guys, if you really enjoy the series and if you enjoy my little reviews. Sorry if they're a little frantic, but I'll get better with them over time, I promise. It's just I'm new to this, so hopefully you guys enjoy. And if you did, again, hit the like button to support the channel. And I will see you guys in the next. I'll go ahead and see y'all in the next video. DBC Mando signing out.